All right, kiddo. What do you got for me? How are we feeling about tonight? He's smiling. He's smiling. Huh? How good is that? We definitely taking game one? Is that a yes? He's distracted by something on the other side of the yard. Hey, I'm asking you a question. Are we winning game one? Just give me a bark. Something. Don't look away. You're just going to sit there and pretend like you're silent all the time? The strong silent type? Uh-huh, and then lay down. All right. Thanks for the epic content, Fluffy.
You ready? Here we go. It did it. I don't believe it. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go. Go.
Puck drop. And 3, 2, 1.
Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go Panthers. Let's go. Go. All right, Panther fans, here we go. I'm not happy with that. There we go. How we doing, Panther fans? Game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody who saw this coming at the beginning of the season raised their hand. Don't shoot the messenger. It doesn't mean I believed all throughout the season, but that's a different story. All right. So, what are we going to do now? What the hell do we do now? This is what I am going to aptly name a man's series. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is everybody's going to have to nut up, man up, gut up, whatever phrase that you want to use, because this is not going to be easy. We're not going to be given anything. Whoever wins this is going to have to take it. And I have a good feeling it's going to be my Panthers as I see a baby bunny right outside my window. Now, the lineups are pretty much the same, except for Carolina's going to get Teravainen back. The Panthers get Lomberg back. Goaltenders are Bob and Anderson. We already know all of this. What am I expecting to see tonight? I keep getting this really interesting, awkward feeling like there's just going to be more offense in spots in this series than we expect. We all, of course, expect all the defense in the world, but I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced, and that's not a knock on either team's defense. I just know both of these teams can score goals as well. So there may be a 2-1 game, and there may be a 6-5 game. I'm not nervous. You're not nervous. Here's the biggest thing, all right? It's not all going to go perfectly. The Panthers are not going to sweep the Canes and have a lead at every moment throughout the series, okay? It's going to be difficult. And the most important thing here for the Panthers, especially these first two games, if you get down a little bit, if things aren't going completely your way, if you can manage that to be able to keep yourself in a game, maybe come back and win a game, those are going to be the things that might be able to win this series. So it's going to be extremely important to just stay in the moment, focus, trust and allow the process to play itself out. All right? Now, in terms of the two games in Carolina, I'm not saying game one doesn't mean anything, but game one doesn't mean anything until you get to game two. And what I mean by that is whoever wins tonight is going to have a massive opportunity to take kind of a little bit of a stranglehold on this series if they also win game two. If you lose game one, it's like, all right, let's just go get game two. Now, what happened with the Panthers and the Leafs is we surprised everybody, took both in Toronto, and they never kind of really recovered from that. I don't suppose the Panthers are fixing to take both here, but obviously it's not possible if we don't win tonight. Last thing I'll say, regardless of what happens tonight, stay calm, stay cool, stay collected. It's going to be a long series, most likely looking at 7 games, because good luck to anybody trying to eliminate one of these teams, and I think that's the focus. They're going to win a game, going to have 2 games, but eventually once somebody gets to 3 wins, good luck trying to get the other team eliminated, because the way these two teams play, it might take you 5 or 6 periods to finally get that 4th victory. All right, I'm not doing scores. Not gonna. I stopped midway through the Toronto series. Enough is enough with the scores. All right, I said Panthers in 7. I kind of was hoping for 6, but Panthers in 7. Let's go to war. It's 1-0 Canes after 1. Now I know it's going to be a long series and it's a long year, and I'm not somebody who normally complains a whole hell of a lot about the refs. But I'm sorry. That was absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit. You give the team a 5-on-3 on a weak, barely a cross-check where the Canes player clearly flops. Absolute horse shit. That was just... And then, of course, they get a goal right after we killed off the 5-on-3 for a minute and 22 seconds. I'm beyond livid. Beyond fucking livid. And I'm right there with Paul Maurice. Just absolute bullshittery. There's no way that period should be anything but a scoreless first period. Completely taken into the referee's hands and changed the whole complexion of the game. Move on to second period. Alright, so it's 2-1 Panthers after 2. Now, if you're new to the channel, let me rewind a little bit, okay? The reaction I gave after the first period, definitely not my norm, alright? I got a little animated, got a little upset, I'm willing to admit it. It was technically a penalty. It still shouldn't be called to get a 5-on-3, but okay. Everything is cool. Panthers. Now, if you're also new to the channel, this is my rally cap. Normally, I will not put this on until we were 2 goals down. But when we had a power play, we were down 1, nothing was happening. I put on the rally cap, and somebody in the chat said, if you're only down 1, it's not going to work. And then we scored 2 goals in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Now, obviously, I'm happy, right? Last period, I was livid. Now I'm happy. I'm an emotional guy. What do you want? Okay, it's the Eastern Conference Finals. Been doing this for 7 years. Never been here before. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to act. So, in the matter of 2 minutes, the Panthers took what was a dominating performance by the Canes and turned it inside out and upside down. Not that the Panthers have been playing poorly. It's just, I don't know how the Canes do it. Like, the Canes can have 3 guys in the offensive zone and lose the puck, and by the time we make a pass to get into the other zone, there's already 4 Canes back at the blue line. You guys got to have 8 guys on the ice at a time. How? Are you teleporting? You got one of those Calvin and Hobbes transmogrifiers? It's 2-1 after 2. If we steal this game, I feel good. But it's early. You know, it's early. How about no more penalties, all right? Just can we agree that? Can we, at this point, after 2 periods, both teams, can we just agree no more? Although you Canes fans probably want penalties because you get good shorthanded chances. All right. Let's move on to the third period. Finish this off, Panthers.
We are going to overtime!
All right, well, everybody who is shocked, raise their hand. Sam Bennett takes a ridiculously stupid penalty. That one was not the referee's fault. That's definitely Sam Bennett's fault. Carolina ties it up kind of early in the third period, and Bob has made a couple of just insane, ridiculously absurd saves to keep us in this game. Those are the kind of saves that have been happening for us, and then we come and end up winning the game in overtime. It seemed like the Panthers, the second half of that third period, had a little bit going, but it almost felt like we were playing for overtime, which doesn't make any sense, but it just kind of felt that way. Canes pretty much dominated that third period. But now it's just do or die. Hopefully we just come out and just take it to them. And if it doesn't go our way, it doesn't go our way. But there's no sense in playing 5 more periods like this. Just get out there, play a little bit, offensive hockey, get one, and let's steal this game, Panthers.
We are going to overtime!
So, now we go to the second overtime period. Fine. I mean, the Panthers already won this game. I don't have the energy right now, and I don't want to focus on it right now, but come on, with goalie interference on that, his skate just grazes Anderson while he's getting kind of shoved into Anderson, and Anderson had plenty of time to reset and move if he needed to, and you call that goal back in overtime? Okay, fine. And I will even that out with the fact that the Canes won this game also, but instead they hit the crossbar from about a foot away. So I suppose when you add it all up, it is what it is, which is double overtime, which, how are we supposed to survive 7 games of this? You tell me. I don't even think I'm going to survive tonight. The whole 5 days off that these guys had is ruined. There's no practice tomorrow morning. Let's move on to the 5th period and see what happens.
We are going to overtime!
So, I mean, maybe the refs regret calling that goal back. You know what I mean? Like, maybe next time somebody scores in overtime, just let it stand, because, I mean, seriously, all the questions now, beyond whatever happens in this game, how's this, number one, going to affect the rest of the series? Number 2, whoever wins this series, how long of a rest are they getting before the Stanley Cup Finals so it's fair? Number 3, how many periods do these goalies play before you start wondering if you're going to see any of the other goalies in Game 2? Like, we're going to have played, I mean, we're going to the 6th period, people. All right. So now at the beginning of the periods, the Panthers have come out looking a little bit like they got some legs, like a little bit faster. That wears off quick. And this is just obscene. The only thing that I can think to do after this game is to change the rules so that the rest of this series, both of these teams are only allowed to have one defenseman on the ice at a time. We can make the forecheck illegal. We could make the goalies play with no stick. I don't know what else to do. I mean, how are you supposed to even decide a series like this? This is Game 1, people. This is Game 1. How is anybody going to survive a 7-game series like this? Moving on to the 6th period, let's see how this one goes.
We are going to overtime!
I have an idea. Now, they've made all sorts of special rules and everything for when the pandemic came and all of that. So, how about we hand out 3 Stanley Cups this year? We just call this, and Panthers and the Canes get a cup, and then whoever wins with Dallas and Vegas, they get their own cup. And because, I mean, we're going to the 7th period. My eyes, I feel like I've been in a fight. I mean, my eyes are just trashed. Oh my God. And there's chances both ways. The puck won't go in. How are these guys supposed to play again tomorrow? I don't know whether to laugh or cry and then laugh. And the crazy thing is somebody still has to win this game. We can't stop until the puck goes over the line. Let's move on to the 7th period. I don't know what to say except ah! Ah! Just 13 seconds before we were going to start our 5th overtime, Matthew Tkachuk, who had no goals against the Leafs, had no goals in Game 1 tonight. He had no goals in Game 2 tonight. And finally, with 12.7 seconds left in the 4th overtime, he wins it. He beats Anderson high, short side, and oh my God, it is 2 in the morning. It's Kyle's still streaming. We've been streaming this whole time, so my eyes, forgive me if I close them because I'm not exhausted tired, but my eyes, man, I mean, I feel like I have like burnt a hole through my brain. I can promise you one thing. This is what I can promise you, fans of this channel. I can guarantee you, I promise you, that if Stu complains one iota about anything tomorrow morning on the review, I will simply remove him from the video. I love you, brother Stu. You know I'm playing with you, but I swear, if there's one complaint tomorrow, you're out. You're out. Oh my God. That's one. That's one. That's one. That's all that was one. And I'm gonna, okay. All right. The game itself. These two teams are ridiculously, absurdly, magnificently the same. They're the same with one exception. With one exception, in my opinion, and that is I believe the Panthers' scoring ability, especially since the Canes don't have Svechnikov, I think the Panthers have that edge just a little bit. Now, in terms of what we saw on the ice today, I can't imagine, my guess, this is just my guess, that we are going to see Game 2 be like 14-13 because they can't have any legs left. There's no way these guys are going to be able to skate tomorrow, right? So I have a feeling it might be a high-scoring Game 2, only because nobody's going to have any gas left in the tank to play defense. And when that happens, usually you get some guys that can be, you know, a little bit more offensive. And then you get to the goalies. I mean, I think Kyle added it up. Almost 120 shots, or more than 120 shots in this game. 125? 125 shots. He's still streaming. So, me personally, I would be shocked to see both of these goalies out there again in Game 2. I mean, they played more than 2 games tonight, right? They played their asses off. Now, Carolina's in a little bit of a different position there. Ranta, I think you guys would feel just fine if you had to put him out there for a game, I think. Now, Lyon, that's a bad, kind of a big spot to throw him out there. But I don't know. I don't know what you do. I mean, I think guys, it's the last they had Montour playing was like 50 minutes. I think maybe some of these guys, they must have got close to 60 minutes tonight. I've never experienced a game like this where I was one of my, I was a fan of a team, so I don't know what the hell to expect. I know Tkachuk had plenty of energy to skate off the ice. Ekblad looked pretty exhausted out there, and all I could keep thinking as this game was going on and the game was going on, and the announcers kept saying, this is now the 9th longest game in NHL history, the 8th, the 7th, I think we got to the 6th. I was remembering 1996 when they said that in Game 4, in that triple overtime, because they were saying, I forget what the numbers were, but they were counting off in terms of Stanley Cup Finals. This is the 10th, this is the 9th, this is the 8th. And of course, we lost that game. So I was getting a little bit concerned. And let's be honest, especially if the Panthers lose this game after Lomberg kind of won the game, this really would have been, that would have been disheartening. That would have been something tough. But now, if you watched my series preview, sorry, I got to scratch my head now. If you watch my series preview, I did say something to the effect of, I think we're going to see something that nobody expected. Now, I think we all expected some overtimes, but I don't think anybody called this. It's game 1, people. It's 1. It's game 1. And they played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods. They played basically 7 full periods tonight. This Florida Panthers team is just never going to quit. It's just never going to quit. Poor Bob. Let's give out some awards here. Bubba, I love you, Bubba. I love you, Bubba. I mean, he could barely stand at the end. I mean, he was making saves and just like, can I take a nap? Can I close my eyes here for a half a second? I mean, he was spent. Absolutely spent. Forsling was just a beast out there. Montour was a beast. And this is not even for Stu, this part. Aaron Ekblad played the game of his MNF life out there tonight, okay? He looked like, I'm not going to say Norris Trophy Ekblad, but as good as we've seen Ekblad play, he was out there doing it tonight. Mark Stahl, 855 years old, out there in 4 overtimes, making it happen. Absolutely making it happen. And, I mean, Bob made at least a half dozen saves where there was at least 3 saves in overtime. At least 3. Or it was like, oh, and they score. But they didn't. They didn't. And the same thing with Anderson. I mean, Anderson was just making... That was the craziest thing I've seen since '96 Game 4, in terms of anything going on with my teams, obviously. All right. That was one game. It was one game. How are any of us supposed to survive this? How? I mean, I'm blind already. I mean, tomorrow morning I am going to wake up and I am going to be useless. Now, in terms of tomorrow, for the schedule's going to be a little bit different. Kyle and I are supposed to be streaming the Western Conference games as well. We're not gonna cheat out on that. We'll gut it out. Say we're still gonna do it. Stu and I with the review might not be so early in the morning. Might be a little bit later. podcast. Everything might be a little bit later. I don't know when I'm going to get to sleep. I don't know if I'm going to get to sleep. So we'll have to just play the schedule by ear for tomorrow. But I'll get everything done that you guys are used to. That you guys are used to getting from me. Don't worry about that. All right, I got nothing left. I got nothing left. That game. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But that game when you win that game. I mean, are you starting to see the writing on the wall, Panther fans? You see what I'm saying? Are you starting to see the writing on the wall here with this team? They won't die. Just ask Boston. They won't die. These guys just won't die. And I know some people have been worried about Kachuk and a little bit critical and thinking he hasn't been scoring a lot, but I've been watching him. He's playing a lot of defense too. He's playing okay. All right? But his energy, his mojo, his swagger, as he said when we first got him, it's what's changed this team around to where they just will not quit. They're just not going to quit. They just won't quit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals goes to the Florida Panthers. Game 2 and the beginning of Game 3 also. I'm going to get this up and now. Maybe I can get to bed by 3. That's great. That's awesome. All right, Florida Panthers, that's one. That's one. This is how many. We learned this with Toronto. This is our math lesson. This is how many we have. This is how many we need. Okay? Everybody get some rest. I can't say I'll be back in the morning because it's morning. What a beautiful night.